Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of the day it is for you. For me, it's coming up to about 2 o'clock, and it's the 10th of January today. And yes, as you can tell, you join me back on the little Hartford for two reasons really, and it's not because the Honda's playing up. That's perfectly fine. The first reason is I've got a Logitech G29, which I've mentioned in previous videos, the whole story behind that. And yeah, I want to trade that in, so I'm off to CEX. Of course, instead of waiting and bugging someone to use the car, well, get them to drive me, waiting out, yeah, all that, I've decided I would take myself. But I couldn't use the Honda because the Honda doesn't have a top box or a rack, and I really want to try and strap down this wheel and pedal box with them in. On the Honda there's not really much tie down point, so of course, because the Hartford's got the rack, I using the Hartford. It also means I've put the shifter and a few other little bits and pieces that I've decided to bring out with me in the top box. I mean, for context, I'll put a picture on screen of me after I loaded the wheel on. My back is currently using it as a backrest. So yeah, I'm proper on my space, but I'm comfortable. I mean, I wasn't too bad with the red boxes, but I'm really quite comfortable. And the second reason is I've had this bike 3 years today. 3 years today is the day I went out back with Charmwood Motorcycle Training on this bike to try and master gears. And I did the trail, was with them for about 2 hours, and then I rode it home, and I've ridden the bike near enough every day since, until about last month. Right, this is going to be fun because we've got no clutch cable. So I've got to creep up to the junction, creep out, so I thought, why not take it out, do this job that I've been meaning to do for about a week or so, 2-3 weeks, and have a birthday ride on Hartford. Great. I could probably shoot, I might even turn it into a bit of review, I don't know. Just as I went to leave home, they decided to snap another clutch cable on me. So, oh, no, that's not what I wanted to read. Oh, yeah, so it decided to spit a clutch cable at me. So, luckily, CEX is the same place, well, just around the corner from where I can get a replacement clutch cable. So we'll pick one of them up in the hour that it takes to test stuff. I'll have to come onto the 447. Everywhere I go. Alright, plan C, because this is not going to work. That route's not going to work either. I should have gone the way I was anticipating on going, not this way. Come on, taxi. Okay, so no clutch cable's not an issue when we're just riding normally, but when you're coming through the villages and traffic lights and junctions, it's a pain in the rear end, because you always just end up wheeling. But no, so we'll overlook the snap clutch cable, because that clutch cable has had a little adjustable nipple put on about 4 times, so the fact it's snapped I'm not bothered about it. I've got the Honda now, so I can just take that out. It's not the end of the world. So as I say, I've had this bike 3 years, and I say I rode it pretty much every day as my only bike for about a month, sort of 3 years, because I picked the Honda up on the 1st of December 2018. So I've done 2 years and 11 months, we'll just call it 3 years. And I know certainly last year, between the MOTs, the bike had done 11,000 miles to 10,000. Anyway, I had no speedo for about a month, and I looked, so we'll add 1,000 there. So in about a year, it's done about 11 to 12,000 miles, which is a lot for a little 125. And I can't, I'll throw all the previous MOTs, and I do know that I have gradually built them up. And if I'm being honest, besides silly little things like clutch cables, I think that's it, clutch cables and the usual tyres, brakes, I've not really had a problem. I did have one major problem with the live wire for the ignition. Was the barrel that I used, that I replaced this barrel with, because some of the pins had worn out. That barrel just gave in and it was causing issues, and I ended up splicing them in and using the little white junction boxes, and didn't quite get a good connection. So yeah, there's been a few small electrical bugs, but yeah, nothing really major, nothing that's made us have to strip the engine down. It's just been silly little things that are a pain. They annoy me straight on it. It's part of the reason why with the Honda I got the 2 years warranty on it, so I didn't have to deal with any electrical problems for 2 years. Which I don't know, I might keep the bike. I'm keeping the bike 2 years max, 2 years minimum, sorry, because of A2. That's the way it is. So yeah, that's been it. And I coming back to this bike, I took it to my granddad's in December, first week or something, to get it ready for an MOT, and I didn't ride the thing for 2-3 weeks. And I rode it to the MOT station, and I thought, ooh, I don't like this, really don't like this. Rode it back from the MOT station, I thought, okay, I'm getting on with it a bit. Rode it home, the back way, and oh my god, did I fall. The lack of power, the lack of weight, it's just fun. There's no other way to describe it. It was just fun. And I have torn with the idea of getting rid of it, keeping it, getting rid of it. And I've decided in the end I am going to keep it. Because this bike has been, well, one, it's been pretty bulletproof. And it's actually been, the only way I can word it is there's more sentimental value to it than there is monetary value. Because this plate thing has done 2 rides to the walls, it's been to Skegness and back in one day, it's taken me up Matlock, up to Bakewell, round the Yonderman. It sat on Armed Forces Day last year when we did the presentation for the Money That Rides the Wall of the race from the year before. It sat at the A30 on the A38 all the way from Tamworth services. We were on the road a good 20-30 minutes, and it sat there with everybody on the big bikes at about 60 mile an hour and did not argue, it did not fight, it held its own. And I really enjoyed it. Yeah, okay, I was riding it hard a bit, but I enjoyed it really. And there was Andy, who you've never seen before. But I've met him through Ride to the Wall, met him on Armed Forces Day, seen him a few times down the Duck, and he couldn't believe that this was a 125. Just the way it, as he said, it's the way it sort of held itself, sat with the traffic, and he couldn't quite, he did actually come up to me and ask how long have I been riding. I think at that point it was coming on 3 years, so he was quite surprised to see this little learner that he'd never met before with this bike that he'd never even heard of, sitting there with the big boys just doing the ride. So yeah, I mean, so it's took me through all this. And I'm not, it took me on Dove Cottage, that was a 100-mile trip on the route alone, and I think I must have spent another 20-30 mile getting there and coming home. And it kept up with, well, I say it kept up with them at the beginning, and then once we all got the confidence, I sort of got left behind a little bit. But due to the drop-off system, I knew where I was going. And yeah, I mean, this bike has taught me so much. It's taught me how to ride, really, because I was riding a moped. And it's just, there's no real way to describe this bike. It's plucky. And yeah, as much as I like the big bikes and I like the power, I still enjoy coming back to this. Even today with no clutch cable. God, you know, any idea how interesting it is with no clutch cable? So, it's a bit grey, I know, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to CEX. I'm going to drop all this off, and then we should have time to get a walk round of the bike, and then I'll explain what I'm going to do with the bike. So I know I've said I'm keeping it, I'm going to change a few things.